Yeah, well, that's all they know. That's all they've been taught is be good, follow the rules, have kids, pay your taxes, and die. That's your whole purpose is to pay taxes, and
I
you know,
know.
I mean, I don't know what. And then people think that having kids is the only thing that makes them worthwhile. Well, there's a lot more you can do for the world than just making another human being. There's this. I mean, I always say help the ones that are already here. They need help. They're
Right.
lost. And the more people you put on the earth that are lost, the more trouble the world gets into. Look at the world. We're screwing it up. We're look at the mess that we're in because there's just so many people. Everybody, okay, another one, here's another one, here's another one. So what do we do? I don't know. What do we do? I don't know. And they just keep doing the same thing.
Yeah.
They always say the definition of insanity is to keep doing the same thing and expect different results. Well, maybe my children can fix the problem. I don't know what to do.
I know completely. If we're not living with purpose, what are we doing exactly? What are we here to
Yeah,
do? Yeah, and you talk
yeah,
about that a lot in your books and your videos. Like find your passion, do the thing you love. Don't worry about anything else.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, I mean, I believe that's part of your programming. Is everybody has something that they can offer the world, but they don't follow their heart. They do what they think they should, what they're told by society. But people out there don't know what you're good at. They don't know what you're only good if you're doing what you enjoy. If you don't like what you're doing, you're probably not going to do a good job. So, and some people fear, well, if I do what I want, I might lose money. I might go, well, that's part of the test. It's part of the thing you have to go through to
yeah,
get there. You have to learn the hard parts, and that's part of becoming good at anything. Is you have to know if something goes wrong. Oh, I know what to do. I was there. I experienced the hardships, so I know what to do. If you don't experience hardships, you won't know what to do when the problem arises. So it's part of the program. It's just like school. It's like anything. You have to learn the good and the bad at the same time. There has to be a balance.
yeah. You have to fail to succeed. It's fear, basically,
Right.
right? It's
Exactly.
fear,
Yeah.
fear of failure. I'm actually I do a lot of work in psychology, Marcus, and I'm actually writing a book about this. The title of the book is "Everything Is a Trauma." So during my past 15 years of research, I came to the conclusion that it is a trauma. Everything that stops us is actually a trauma that started usually in early childhood because we're very receptive at that age. And my absolute hero is Wilhelm Reich. I've done so much research about his work, and I spent basically 15 years studying what he did with psychology and orgone energy and how the dynamics of our energy flows. And yeah, it is fear. It is a trauma that stops us from pursuing what we have to pursue.
There's either the truth or not knowing the truth. And we always fear what we don't know. And you're right. When you're young, you are a tape recorder. You just kind of record whatever you see, and then you start copying that and doing it yourself. So
Yeah.
a lot of people are raised with, angry parents or just wrong thoughts, like, about success and what you're worth, and then people have to get rid of that programming to have it's like a computer virus. Yeah,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Totally agree.
it's a disease, but you can get over it. You have to just reprogram it, and that's part of it. And you just have to know that there's another world out there. There's endless possibilities, not just the one that you've been told.
Yeah. Things happened to you when you went on your period of fasting in the desert. So that's basically when things started to happen, right? When you let go completely.
Well, things were always happening.
Yeah.
The only difference is how you look at them. A
Yeah.
lot of things that happen, you could look at them and say, "Oh, that's bad. Oh, I'm such bad luck. Everything is bad. I'm a victim." And then a successful person would look at that and go, "Oh, here's the next challenge. And then when I figure out the answer to this and how to overcome it, that will make me stronger and more successful."
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same thing. It's how you look at it. I mean, um, most successful people in the world got there because they figured out the answer to a problem that they had, which a lot of other people had too. And then they created something that addressed that problem. And other people said, oh, I can use that. And then the person became successful. So most big things come from a problem. They start with a challenge. So are you going to look at that as something that makes you give up and say, oh, I can't go any further, there's just too many challenges? Or do you get excited about it and say, you're like a handyman, how can I fix this? Oh, and then you figure out creative ways to get around that or fix it. And I grew up on a farm with, fixing things my whole life. My dad showed me how to take things apart and fix them, and about woodworking, electricity, and fixing buildings and machinery. And you need to know you got to go into life with a tool belt. Right. All right, give me anything you got. What do you need fixed? And the more, that's just never ending. Things are just part of life. Things are going to break. Yeah. Physically, emotionally, relationships, jobs, whatever it is, things break. They need fixing or replacing, and you just got to be ready for it and get excited about it and not get scared of it, because things, going through life fearing is crazy, because things don't stop happening. You just have to be ready for it and Absolutely. Be okay with it. You don't know what's going to happen. You just have to be open to the new things in life.
It actually becomes fun because you get to know that failing is part of the process. You have to go through a certain number of failures before you succeed, and it's part of the process. You can't change that.
Well, the failures never end. It's how they say the most successful people failed more than anybody. Mm-hmm. It's 1,000 failures for one success, but you had to go through those to learn. Yeah. And that's what school is. And school never ends. People think when they get out of, when they're 18, 20 years old, school's over. No, it's just starting. School never ends.
Yeah.
And you always have to learn and grow and adapt. Things that adapt, they survive. Things that stay hard and don't change, they break and they die.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the people who can tolerate the process are the people who succeed eventually. And that's all about it. I want your take on this, all right? So when I was 18, I started researching nutrition, and I began with the macrobiotic diet, all right? So I spent 7 years doing that. Then I gradually started to experiment with fasting, and I noticed that carbs and sugars, even if they were whole, even if they were fruits, they were bothering me. So I started to eliminate slowly, until I got to a point where I consume absolutely no sugars of any kind, no carbs, no fruits, nothing that can raise the blood sugar. And I've been doing that for the past 5 years. Now, including big names in the world of nutrition on the internet, I spoke to a lot of people. They all thought that this was crazy. It just can't happen. You need a little bit of fruit. You need, you know how it goes. So I know your take about this is gonna be awesome. What do you think? I literally have spent the past 5 years eating nothing that raises blood sugar. I'm talking 0 glycemic index.
Well, I have nothing against whole fruit.
I know.
Nature already designed everything perfectly. The thing is, people are trained by the everybody wants an instant gratification. They want a quick fix. They've learned that society is easy to trick with sugar. It's the easiest thing in the world. You get somebody, it's an addictive substance. It's like cigarettes, alcohol, drugs, cocaine, anything. It's something that makes you feel good, but you got to pay the price later.
Of course.
But people think, sugar's not bad. It's just a food, right? It doesn't have much effect on you. And then they don't realize it's like rocket fuel for cancer and parasites and yeast and bacteria and things that, anything that coexists with you. Yeah. But in nature, fruit comes with, the whole fruit, it's mainly fiber and it's got some sugar mixed in with it. And if you eat it whole, that's fine, because the fiber slows down the absorption rate and the release rate of the sugar. It keeps it in balance. But what do people do? They juice it. They juice their fruit. One orange juice one glass of orange juice has like 25 grams of sugar, which is as much as a Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
Apple juice has 35 grams. That's even more.
Yeah.
So you're concentrating the sugar. So they say, well, it's the type of sugar. That's okay. No, it's a concentrated isolate. You're isolating the sugar and you're throwing out the fiber, which is needed to balance the sugar.
Yeah.
So it's not that the sugar necessarily is bad. It's like saying water is bad. Why is water bad? Well, if you drink too much of it, you drown, right?
Right.
Well, then therefore water is bad. No, it's not. You just have to have just the right amount of it, and you got to take it in the right way. If you get water down your throat and it goes into your lungs accidentally because the wrong pipe is open,
right,
just a little bit can mess you up. But the same thing with sugar. If you're taking it wrong, it can mess you up. But if you eat a whole fruit in its natural state, that's okay. Now, a lot of the fruit that's out there has been bred and hybridized for high sugar content. So what you buy out there, the bananas and the mangoes and everything, that's not how the apples, especially apples and bananas, they were not that sweet 100 years ago.
Right.
They bred them high sugar. So that's not natural either.
Mm-hmm.
So the best thing is, I always say, go for the low sugar fruits, blueberries, things like that are not really high in sugar. And most people, the fruitarians, they're very high. They're mainly all fruit. Everything they pick is just the sweet stuff.
Yeah.
But they don't have enough greens. I always say, if you watch a monkey, because monkeys eat half greens, half fruit, they know they need a lot of greens. Green stuff is important. You need it. And half your diet should be green. So I say, fruit's not bad. It's not evil. Just make sure you balance it out with green stuff. And you also need your healthy fats, avocados, nuts, seeds, things like that. Because, 80% of your brain is fat. Your whole nervous system is your myelin sheaths. Everything that's healthy fats and oils. So you need a balance of everything. People that just pick the sugar stuff, that's an imbalance, and you're going to have an issue at some point. I mean, look at them. Their teeth are rotting out. Their hair is falling out. They have emotional issues because of the hypoglycemia.
Yep.
They're very angry. Look, nobody's fighting more online than the fruitarians. They're very defensive. They're very aggressive.
Yeah.
And you look at the people that eat a lot of greens, and they're like cows. They're like, whatever, okay. They don't fight anything,
Yeah.
So learn from nature. It's got everything figured out. Man thinks that it can improve on nature. Nature's already perfected it. Billions of years. Whatever doesn't work is already gone. So the only thing that works is what's left in nature. And just eat things the way you find it in nature. It's that simple. It's not that difficult. It's not rocket science.
Yeah. Let me share with you exactly what happened to me, because things got to an extreme. Yeah, we're talking fruits, right? But things got to a point with me, to the point that I can't even eat like a slice of onions without feeling the sugar effect. A small piece of carrot without feeling the sugar effect. And I chose to avoid that completely. Of course, I'm not telling people to do that. This is a personal choice. But it's like I felt most comfortable when I'm like on a ketogenic vegan diet. That's how it got. So I'm actually, Marcus, feeling like, our body would either use fat for energy, or it would use glucose, sugar, for energy. So it's like, if I eat a tiny amount of sugar, my body starts asking, should I switch or not? And that switching process feels bad psychologically. So I have to wait like few days before my body is content to its ketogenic status back. That's what's happening to me. So I mean it when I'm saying zero glycemic index. That's exactly what's happening.
Yeah. I mean, everything does turn into sugar in your body, but it's a matter of how fast it gets. Like, if it's already got high sugar, it gets released instantly in your bloodstream. Your insulin goes. But you shouldn't have reactions like eating onion or something like that. I mean,
I know it sounds weird, but it's like anything.
It could be that you're just overly sensitive because your body was. Were you not that healthy like 5-10 years ago? Were you kind of?
Not really. No, I've spent like the past, since I'm 37 now. I started eating macrobiotically since I was like 18.
But macrobiotics has a lot of cooked rice and
Yeah,
things
but
like that.
it's whole. It's not
Grain-
bad. Yeah,
And cooked grains are very, very high sugar, high glycemic. So
yeah.
people that you can get yeast issues and a lot of imbalances from that. So it could be that your body just got used to a certain way, and you have, your gut bacteria and your insulin and your pancreas and everything was going in a certain direction, and now it's like overly touchy, and you got to kind of work your way back.
It
But
got
I
touchy.
mean,
Yeah, it got touchy. It's
yeah,
like
I mean,
I feel the fluctuation, like that switch between the ketosis process and that I can feel it physically, and that's why
it's like
just choose.
it's like pancreatic post-traumatic stress syndrome. It's like sugar, sugar. It's like you had a bad experience in the past, and now your body freaks out at the slightest bit of it. But I mean, if you just eat whole foods like onions and carrots and whatever, I mean, it should be fine.
Yeah.
It shouldn't give you a reaction like that. I mean, it should ease up after a while. I mean, if you stay on greens and whatever it is, and the healthy stuff, the clean whole foods, your body should readjust and get back to the way it should be. And make sure you get the right amount of minerals and enzymes and nutrients and fats and everything that you need. And the body knows how to fix itself. So just give it what it needs.
No, listen, there ain't anything. There isn't a problem. I can eat fruits. I can eat anything I want. But it's like I prefer to not burn sugar and not spike the blood sugar in any
Well, that's
way.
good.
Yeah, that's how it feels.
That's good. I mean, as long as you feel good, and
Yeah,
I
know.
everybody can feel their own what's best for them. And if you don't feel like you're low energy, and keep doing what works for you.
That's the weird part. Yeah, it's much higher energy this way. It's like a ketogenic vegan diet. That's how it's going with me. It's mostly raw. Sometimes I cook stuff.
Yeah.
But it's mostly raw all the time.
Good.
So yeah. All right, Michael, what do you think about the weird trend going on now about the carnivore diet? There's a big trend going on, so.
It's just a fad. It's a trend, and then everybody runs to this. It's like dance clubs. Everybody runs to this one because it's the new one. Oh wait, it's over here. Now everybody runs over to this one. It's like it's the hot thing of the month, and then everybody's like sheep. They just follow whatever. And again, it's instant gratification. The animal products are high fat, and fat has two things. It gives you energy, and it slows down the effect of something. So if there's something bad happening or something good happening, whatever, it slows it down, because fat slows down the release and the absorption rate of anything.
Right.
So if something bad is happening, it's going to take a while to show up. But the one thing that fat does do, it makes you feel full, and it gives you energy. So and that makes you feel good, and you're not obviously you're going to look better because you're plumper looking because of the fat. But wait a few years, wait till you see what starts happening down the road. I mean, it's not just cholesterol only comes from animal products. Humans create their own. If you have a lot of stress, you get a lot of cholesterol, but it's not like it's not like you need something from the animal foods. You're not lacking anything if you're eating right. But I mean, it's just, I mean, think about it. I mean, if you put a person out in the field and there's a strawberry bush and there's a cow, which one are you going to get attracted to? You're going to go like, I think you're going to, or if you see like, beautiful mangoes or something that like fruit, I think you're going to go for the fruit. It's just a natural thing we do. We don't feel the urge to go kill an animal. I don't know. It's not a natural thing for us.
Right.
And I don't think it's necessary. I mean, there's people that live their whole lives without eating animal products, and they're fine. So, it's just a trend. It's a thing that everybody, they're scared. Again, I think this is mainly fear-based stuff, that the stronger, more aggressive people are always louder. Even though there's fewer of them, they're louder. It's like those two kids in the back of the class that make a lot of noise and everybody else is quiet. And then you think there's it's just the loud ones always and then everybody follows the loud ones because they see them as leaders because they're loud.
And they're
But the
just
quiet
on.
ones, the quiet ones are the ones that live the longest. They're the ones that outlive. The longest living animals are what? Turtles and elephants, and they're mainly plant eaters. The ones that eat other animals, they don't live long. They're very fast and they're very aggressive, but they don't live long. They have the shortest lives.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's a fad. Wait, there's a movie coming out. The James Cameron movie that's coming out next month or this month. The Game Changers. Have you heard of it? With
Uh,
Arnold Schwarzenegger, and
no, not really.
it's going to change everything. It's like the biggest people in the world. Look at the Olympic weightlifter champion of the last 2 years was a plant eater. This movie is about plant-based diets and how it's changing the world, and how some of
Wow.
the strongest athletes. Arnold Schwarzenegger even talks about it. He's
Wow.
in the movie, and Jackie Chan, and who's the other one? Some of these really big, all the big people are. That's gonna help change things. Now everybody's gonna run the vegan way, and everybody's gonna run. It's funny because it's just a big crowd that follows everybody else, and the truth will eventually come out. So I'm not worried. Everybody can do whatever you want. Go get sick. Go get your heart attacks, and and then they'll all come back. And then I think eventually people will just kind of meet in the middle, and they'll have a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But if you can just cut down meat just by half, that's a major change in the world.
Yeah.
Global warming, a lot of that, the biggest factor that contributes to global warming, people don't understand, is it's not transportation, it's meat. It's meat eating. They say it takes as much water to raise a cow during its lifetime as it does to float a battleship. One cow. And 80% of all agriculture on the earth, it's not for humans, it's to raise cows, pigs, and chickens.
Yeah.
They eat like 1,000 times more than we do. And we got to feed them, and then you got to truck them to a facility, and then you got to truck the meat to all over the country and the world, and then all the trucks and airplanes and ships and trains that are trucking all this meat and cows and things, and then you got to feed them all, the tons and hundreds of tons of food for these things that you got to feed them with every day. That's where most of the energy is being used for. They're cutting down rainforests to make room for more cows. There's 7 states in this country that have more cows than humans. I don't know what it is, like 2 billion cows on the planet. And they only live for 4 or 5 years before they kill them, and they have another 2 billion cows. So that's where all the energy is going. That's where a lot of the global warming, all that. If we cut our meat consumption in half, just in half, not totally cut it, just cut it down to half, the world would be instantly that much better off.
Right.
And you'd have more land, you'd have more money, the temperature the earth would be more relieved. It's so far reaching. It's not just, oh, you're going to get a heart attack, oh, you're going to get cancer. It's more than that. It's the whole global economy. It's the whole world. It's like, people are so brainwashed to live a certain way.
Yeah.
You don't need, if you're healthy and you're clean and you're working right, you don't need a lot of food, and you can live off of very little, just a handful of plant foods, and you're fine.
Absolutely. I remember watching the classic Diet for New America, John Robbins.
Oh, Google the Game Changers when you get a chance. That's the name of the movie.
I will. The Game Changer.
I think it's coming out in a few weeks.
Awesome. So a lot of interesting stuff, I guess. So that's why I began this interview by talking about, it's about purpose. It's really about purpose. If you're sick, and you want to cure yourself, you're gonna do the research, and you're gonna do the homework, and you're gonna cure yourself. But if you are not interested in that, nothing's gonna help you. So it's really about that motivation, that thing inside of us that drives us to do these things, more than the information themselves. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
I'm going to be doing a series on epigenetics soon. I'll be interviewing some key people in that field. And, You see, everybody is always obsessed with, well, I have this disease, I have this condition. What do I take?
Yeah.
And I keep saying it's not what you take, it's what you stop doing. Stop doing what caused the problem. But they
Yes.
don't want to stop what caused the problem. They don't
Yeah.
want to stop their unhealthy habits. And then they get angry, or they could just walk, they just go away and they try to find someone else who tells them what to take.
Exactly.
But they're not going to heal. And the only thing that you could really take is something that hides the problem. That's what doctors are trained for 7 years in medical school, is what drugs hide what problems. And
Right.
if the and then after a while, the body part just goes so bad they have to cut it out. So that's what they train doctors: what drug hides what symptom, and eventually how to cut it out of the
Right.
body, which
Right.
is totally ridiculous, because everything you need in your body, everything you have in your body, you need, has a function, has a purpose. So, the really only way to heal is to stop doing what caused the problem. And then, a lot of people, they don't want to hear what caused the problem.
Hmm.
Ask any doctor what causes this problem. They don't know, or they don't want to know, because it's it's getting too personal at that point.
Hmm.
And but that's really the only way to if somebody who's serious, who really wants to change their life, the only thing that you could really do, that to make a difference, is to really have the courage to look at what it is that you've been doing that led you to the point where you're at, and
Yeah.
say, what have I been doing that, because whatever it is, you've been doing it over and over and over repeatedly for a long time. It
Yeah.
doesn't happen overnight. You don't do something and then 5 minutes later you have a disease. It happens over years,
Yeah.
many years, a lifetime.
Yeah.
And it's from habits.
Right.
So if bad habits cause that, then you have to learn to change your habits. You have to learn to change the things that you're used to doing on a regular basis. And habits are really hard to change. That's what addictions are. Um, and it's not just necessarily the fact that it's something that is physically addictive. The habit itself is what's addictive. The
Right.
fact that you got in the habit of doing it. It could be anything. It could be, walking out the door at 4 o'clock. You do that every day, you're going to feel weird if you don't walk out the door at 4 o'clock,
Right.
because you got in the habit, and then you feel guilty and you feel weird and you feel like, I got to do it. I got to do it. Why? You're just walking out the door. What's the good or bad of that?
Right.
Well, you train yourself to do it. So it's not necessarily the substance. It's the fact that you got used to doing it, whatever it is. And it's amazing how difficult it is to stop a habit. And the first day you try to change it, it's the hardest. The second day, it's still really hard. The third day, it's still pretty hard. After a week or two, you start getting easier. And after about 20 days, it's easier, really easy to break. They say 20 days, a month, is you've broken the habit, and then you're okay.
Yeah.
And fasting makes that kind of easy, where you just say, I'm not going to do anything. I'm just stopping everything. And then what's amazing is when you're fasting, just looking at anything, a tomato, or anything that is just something that you went, that's nothing before. Now you start drooling over it, or just
Right.
like you see some arugula and you go, oh, that looks good, but you wouldn't have said that a month ago. You would have, that's stupid. I don't want that. I want candy.
Yeah.
So when you clean yourself out and you stop your habits, then you can restart good habits, and then you start doing only good things. That's why fasting is good, because it helps you break habits, and then you ease into it. Like a lot of people do the worst thing possible. They fast, and then what do when they stop fasting? They go and eat as much as they possibly can, and they eat the worst food, and they party, and they have and then they get back to where they were. Like, why did you even bother? So the thing to do is when you come out of the fast, do something light and do something good, and then only stick with the good stuff. And then you might not be used to it, but after 10 days, after 15, 20 days, you get used to it, and then it becomes part of your life, and now you've started a new habit. And this isn't just with food. This is with relationships. It's with money issues. It's with anything you do in life. You got to get into the habit of doing the right thing, the new, better thing. And after a while, it becomes part of your life. That's how you reprogram, like you say, the traumas, the bad things from the
Yeah.
past.
That's the key. That's the key.
Yeah.
Marcus, this has been a blast. I don't want to take more of your time. Of course, I feel like I've been talking to a friend. This is so beautiful. So yeah, Marcus.
Well, it's nice to see people on the other side of the world doing similar things and being interested and excited about doing the right thing, being healthy, and
Yeah,
trying to get the message out. That's important. There should be like people every country doing this. I think, well, there are people, but it just helps to connect and make us feel better that other people are doing it. It's nice. It's actually very nice and pleasant to see somebody like you way far away in some strange country doing the same thing. Yeah.
that's the magic of the internet, I guess.
Yeah, but what's interesting is if you actually go to other countries, or I travel a lot,
Yeah,
and yeah, they might people might speak different, their cultures, their dress, everything's different, but you realize they're ultimately the same. The way that their value system, there's human beings, their core emotions, their drive, the basic everything is it's the same.
yeah,
They're
it is.
they just look a little different, but we all kind of want the same thing. Some are a little more lost than others, but I think ultimately we're all the same inside, and it's a relief to see that no matter how far you go in the world and how far you travel,
Yeah,
that that you can connect on the same level and have the same thoughts. That's kind of neat.
same spirit, different packages. That's all.
Right, right.
Right.
Keep up the good work, and
Thanks, Marcus. This has been a blast. Needless to say.
yeah. So good luck.
Thank you, and to you too. I'll keep you updated. All right.
All right.
Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Hesitate no more, no more. It's your God forsaken right to be loved. I'm sure no need to open up your mind and see like Kate. Open up your plans and damn you're free. Well, look into your heart and you'll find love.